Good morning, all. Hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, Naveen.
Thanks for the confirmation. Okay, before we proceed, any questions? Like we are doing the manual accounting part, right? We'll complete today that and we will proceed to next practical part. So we were discussed about the types of accounts. Like we discussed, actually I missed that note where I kept it. So you know that what do you mean by a real impersonal accounts? How many types of impersonal accounts? How many types of impersonal accounts?
Two.
Impersonal accounts are of two types. Of two types. What are they? What are they?
One is real account.
Real and nominal.
Real account and nominal account. So you know what do you mean by real account? What is a real account?
Business assets.
Yeah, the
Accounts
account.
comes in it.
Yeah, the account. The account. Why it's important in the sense before account group, whatever chart of accounts we are going to do, we need to understand what, as I said earlier in session also, there may be thousands of accounts or lakhs of accounts or whatever may be the accounts. So either that will come under personal account, real account, or a nominal account. Clear? So at the time of classification of accounts, so we need to have a knowledge whether is it a current asset or a fixed asset or current liability, long-term liability, or a fixed liability. We need to have a knowledge on that. That is mandatory. Clear? So here, real account, that is nothing but the account which deals with business assets. Don't forget that. Never ever say that assets. It deals with business assets. Business assets. Clear? The account which deals with business assets, it's known as real account or real accounts. Clear? Again, the real accounts are, see here, the account which deals with asset. What do you mean by assets? Assets are nothing but what business owns. What business owns or the resources of a business. The resources of a business is known as an asset, or whatever business owns are known as an asset. So assets are further classified into two types. One is current assets. Second one, fixed assets. So already we discussed, what do you mean by current assets? What are current assets?
The assets which we can convert into the cash quickly.
Quickly in the sense?
Maybe in the tenure from one balance sheet to another
Within
balance
1
sheet.
year.
Exactly. The current assets are nothing but from the asset which can be converted into cash quickly, in the sense, again, quickly in the sense how much time? 1 year time. 1 year in the sense from when to when? From preparation of one balance sheet to another balance sheet. So whatever assets we can convert from one balance sheet to another balance sheet, all those assets are nothing but your current assets. Clear? We discussed like current, what we call cash in hand, cash at bank, sundry debtors, bills receivable, inventories. Clear? All those stuff comes under current assets, right? And what do you mean by fixed assets? Same, opposite to that. The assets which cannot be converted into cash within a year time from preparation of one balance sheet to another balance sheet, right? See, as I said that when I purchased, see, anything can be converted into cash within a year. Anything, again, I'm telling you in reality, anything can be converted into cash within a year time. But why? At the time of purchases, right? What we will think is something which we want to use for longer period, not we want to sell for within a year time. Clear? Then those assets are considered as an fixed assets. Like you can take it as an your buildings, land. See, whenever we purchase a building, right? Rent a building, purchase a building. Rent a building is an expense. Purchase a building is an asset. Why? Purchase a building in this, at the time of purchase of building, we won't purchase with the intention of sale in within a year time. We want to use it for longer period. So if I ask you another question here for someone, what is the difference between goods and an asset? How can you differentiate? Suppose I said building or land, furniture, what is the other one? For example, if I say computers. So all these are goods or assets.
Assets.
How can you say that?
Because we won't sell them within an year.
See, for example, I'll tell you what is the difference between a good and an asset?
Goods are basically for trading and assets are for like investments and stuff.
Okay. So all these things, is it a good or assets?
Assets.
These are assets.
But the things will be different. Again, I'm telling you, what is the, as you
It
said,
depends on the business, Naveen.
Exactly.
When a
Correct.
furniture shop, for him, it is goods. Furniture is a goods. For
Correct.
furniture shop.
Exactly. That's perfect answer. See, what is the goods and asset in the sense that the thing or whatever we purchase with the intention of resale. Whatever we purchase with the intention of resale, correct? Then that will become a good, right? And the things which are purchased for business use, nothing but long-term use, not with the intention of resale purpose, then that will become an asset. For example, if I say land, okay, our business is, for example, our business is for, we are dealing in furniture business and we purchased 1 acre of land, right? What is my regular business? Furniture. But is it my trading part of what I'll do? I'll purchase furniture and I'll sell furniture. But whatever land I have purchased, what is my intention? So I want to use for longer period. Then what is my nature of business? My nature of business is dealing in furniture of buying and selling, but not my nature of business is selling of land, right? So then it will become an asset for me. Understood? Same thing, furniture. What kind of dealer am I? I'm a furniture dealer. So what are the things I'll do? I'll purchase furniture from someone and I'll sell the furniture to someone. So what is the thing I'm dealing here? So if I purchased a table or something, right? So what is my intention to purchase that table? So I will resell to someone. I'm going to resell to someone. Then something which we are reselling, but at the time of purchase, our intention is we want to resell it. Then that is considered as a goods.
Naveen, I have a question here.
Please.
If it is an official furniture, for example, we buy tables or chairs for an office use.
Mm-hmm.
So for that company, the furniture would be asset.
Correct.
Right? Because
Correct.
it's not for sale.
Because at the time of purchase of that particular furniture, clear, what is your intention? What was your intention? You want to use it for
like livestock, like
longer period, right?
Yeah.
What is your business actually? What kind of business you have? Probably something different. You want to deal in furniture of buying and selling.
So it depends on the nature of the business that you are doing.
What is the nature of it?
And
yes, exactly.
So it can be goods if it is for sale and purchase. It can be assets if it is for an official use.
Correct. Exactly. That is the only thing makes the difference.
Yeah.
Fine. Same thing. I'm into, as I said, that my business is furniture business, and I'm into Lipakshi furniture, whatever you call, right? It's a super, like entire India, it occupies furniture, number one furnitures, right? Lipakshi furnitures, Urbantia furnitures, right? IKEA now, right? So here IKEA purchased computer. IKEA purchased computer. Right. So will it become, what is IKEA nature of business? IKEA will buy the furniture and they will sell the furniture. Correct. That is the nature of the business of IKEA, Urbantia, or whatever whatever you will take. Lepakshi. Right. So they have purchased computers. So what is their nature of business? Buying and selling of furniture. But are they going to trade with the computers? Are they going to? No, right?
No.
So at the time of purchase, their intention is to use for building purpose or some other purpose to store the data or something else. Then what computers will become? Is it an asset or a good? It's an asset. Same thing if I take into real this thing. So my business, I'm into realtor, nothing but real estate business I'm having. What I'll do, I'll purchase the lands and I'll sell the lands. Then for real estate owner, what it will become? Land. Is it an asset or good?
Goods.
Right. The realtor business is, he won't keep it with him. He will buy the land and he will sell into other people. So for realtor, it's a good. And same thing we already discussed. Furniture. For realtor has purchased the furniture. Realtor business, the nature of business is buying of land, selling of land. Then it will become again asset. For realtor, it is an asset. Computer is an asset. But same time, my business is, for example, Bajaj Electronics or Tirumala Electronics. So computers. What Bajaj Electronics will do? Bajaj Electronics will buy the electronic products and they will sell. Correct? Then computers will become what for them? Goods. Hope you got now. Difference between goods and asset.
Yes.
Right. So here, the fixed assets. Fixed assets are nothing but, as we know that, the assets which can be touched and seen. Those assets are nothing but fixed assets. The assets which can be seen and touched. Right, as we saw right now. So how we need, first we need to differentiate whether is it an asset or a stock or a good. Right, again we need to differentiate whether is it a current asset or current assets, you know that right now. So for only fixed assets will be durable, used for longer period, then only it will come under fixed asset. And same time, what kind of fixed asset is it? Right, again, tangible fixed asset, intangible fixed asset. What do you mean by tangible fixed asset? The assets which can be seen and touched, like furniture, land, computers, whatever you call. And business will have other type of asset also. Intangible fixed assets. Intangible fixed assets. What do you mean by that? For example, if I want to buy a dress, then first of all, I'll go with the brand. Right? Brand is nothing but a goodwill. But we can't see that goodwill. But that will become an asset to that particular company. Correct? If I take Reliance, people knows, everybody knows Reliance. Right? So if everyone knows about that particular company, then that will automatically considered as a goodwill. So we can't see that. But that will be their word of mouth or people's brain, then that will become a goodwill. It's an asset to that particular company. Right? Same time, trademarks, royalties, all those stuff comes under intangible fixed assets. Intangible fixed assets. Is that clear? Current assets, fixed assets, real account. Any
Yes,
question?
Clear now.
Next one, we have one more account already we discussed, I believe, nominal accounts. Nominal accounts. Nominal accounts are nothing but the accounts which deals in business expenses, losses, incomes, and gains or profits. Okay. The account which deals with, again, not personal expenses of owner, business expenses, business losses, business incomes, and business profits or gains. Then all those comes under nominal accounts. Clear? We know that natural person, artificial persons, already we discussed, and another type of impersonal accounts, real nominal, real account which deals with expenses and losses, right? Again. So here I said I'm using the two terms called expense and loss. What is the difference between these two? What is this difference?
Purchasing any goods for the business is comes under the expenses.
Okay. Then what is loss? What is loss?
Cost minus selling, whatever it is, it
No,
is a
I'm
loss.
just a layman perspective I'm asking. If I say cost in the sense, again, I'll go with the cost. Right, selling, again, I'll ask a deep dive. So a layman language, I'm asking what is the difference between, I'm using the term called expenses and I'm using a term called loss.
Loss means the deficit.
Expense total amount spent, and loss is basically from the, if you're producing something and there's a cost and we are selling it below the cost.
But again, so I'll go with the other, again, so the freshers. Sahiti and Vamshi, any idea? What is the difference between, how can you make out something is an expense, something is loss? By looking at that. Quick. We're running short of time.
Maybe if we feel that we can gain a profit from it, then it's an expense.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Maybe during the transaction, if we feel that we can gain a
We won't
profit,
feel,
maybe,
right? It's not feeling.
like maybe we can at least make sure if we are purchasing the maybe a laptop for the business purpose. Then
Purchasing
it's
a
a-
laptop, you said, is it an expense or a loss?
it's an expense
Why not? It could be a loss.
because we are using it for the business purpose.
No, I'm not. Then that will become an asset. If you are using it for a business purpose, then it will not come under a nominal account, right? It will come under a asset. That is nothing but your fixed asset under real account. Hope you got my point.
Yes.
I'm asking the two simple terminologies. How can you make it out whether it's an expense or a loss? Yes, Sahiti, Vamshi. Because why I'm insisting is because they have recently finished their graduations. So that's the reason. That's it. Nothing else. Pointing out. Don't take me wrong.
So giving the salaries is an expense to the company
Why?
because we are using the service of the employees for getting a final output.
Okay. Then what
So
is
that
loss?
will be loss is something when we have purchased any asset and where we are selling that asset less than a market value, the value which we have lost is considered as a loss.
I'll tell you, as you said, paid salaries, correct? Paid salaries. Correct? What example you took is absolutely perfect, right? So you're using 10 employees, some from production. Out of 10 employees, 7 employees are working perfectly, and you're paying 10,000 for each employee. They're working perfectly and they're giving 100% production or whatever services they are giving, right? So here, whatever 7 members we are paying 10,000, 70,000. So then we are getting some sort of return benefit from these 7 employees. Clear? Then that will considered as an expense. Okay. And what about 3 members? We are paying same 10,000 to them, but they are not working at least 10%. Out of their efforts, out of 100%, they're not even putting 10% efforts also. So I'm not getting any return benefit from them. The same salaries I'm paying them, and I'm not getting any return benefit from those 3 employees. Okay, then that 30,000 will become, am I getting any return benefit from them?
No.
Am I getting clear?
No.
So that 3 employees' salaries will become loss. Same thing. I'll take you one more example. See, simple terminology. What is expense and loss in the sense? Expense is nothing but we are investing, and if you are not getting any return benefits, then that will turn into a loss. If we are spending and we are getting a return benefit, then that is considered as an expense. Right? Same thing. You've joined by paying a lot of amount for this particular course, SAP FICO course. Huge amounts you are paying, right? So is it an expense or a loss for you?
Expense.
Why expense?
Because we are expecting some return in future out of it.
Not expectation. If you get a return every day, you're returning. So are you going to get some return benefit every day or not?
Yeah, we are learning. Yeah.
Correct. You're getting a return benefit, then it will consider it as an expense. Every day you're returning, but you're not understanding a 1% of that particular subject, whatever I'm explaining. Then what?
Means
What is
not
that?
even 1% or
It's a
not
loss.
1%.
Okay, not 100% you are not understanding, for example.
It's a loss.
Yeah,
It's a loss.
so it's a loss.
Understood. If you take a building for rent, right? If you take a building for rent, right? And unfortunately, you are using that building. You are using that building. Then that rent will become an expense. Correct. From last 6 months, you are not using, not your furniture or anything. No store, no material is there in that particular building, but still you are paying 20,000 rent from past 6 months. COVID time, majority people, okay, they have vacated, majority institutes or colleges or whatever end, that's 1 year of time. They have kept the building. Earlier they used that buildings, but after that they were just paid the rent for that particular 1 year. So before COVID, whatever buildings we took it for rent, that was an expense. But at the time of COVID, because of social distances, we are not able to take offline classes. Correct? Then that building, but we need to pay the rent to the owners. Then is it an expense or a loss at that particular COVID period? Hello?
Expense.
Loss. That's a loss.
It's a loss because we haven't utilized that building, correct? Majority offices are vacated in India, Hyderabad, because of that.
Even with this scenario. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, Naveen, as you said, if I'm not using that premises due to COVID, it can be a loss, but it can be an expense also for me.
No, I'm not asking asset. I took a building for rent.
No, I'm saying that it can be an expense for me.
Which one?
And it can be a loss for me also.
Which one? I didn't get you. Can you please come again?
The last example that you gave us, that if I procure a building for a coaching, and due to COVID, I was not able to utilize that building or the premises. So in that sense, that can be an expense for me.
Why
it can be a loss for me.
It's a loss, not an expense.
Because I'm just putting my money. So it is an expense for me. It's not a revenue for me. Like if I talk
That's
about
what,
the
see, you're not getting, see, what is the difference between loss and expense? In the sense, you're putting some amount, you're investing something, okay, and you're not getting any return benefit. Then it is considered as a loss. You're keeping some investment and you are getting a return benefit. Then that is considered as an expense. In COVID period, we spent amount, we invested amount, but we didn't get any sort of return benefits. Clear?
Okay. Yeah.
So the same thing here, income and revenue. What is the difference? Sorry, revenue or incomes and profits. What is the difference? So first of all, make sure that whether it's an expense or this one loss. So we need, as a nature, we need to understand whether is it an expense or a loss. First of all, first point. Now, if I come to here, income or revenue and gains, every revenue will have a profit. Every revenue will have a profit.
Not necessary.
Not necessary.
Correct. Right? For example, I have manufactured 100 pens. 100 pens at a cost of 10 rupees each. Cost, I said. Cost of 10 rupees each. Okay. So what is my cost? 100 into 100 multiplied with 10. So that is nothing but 1000. So which is inclusive of everything, your carriage, direct expenses, indirect expenses, and everything it is inclusive. So total cost, how much I've spent? 1000. So here in the market, I have sold this 100 pens at 15 rupees each. 15 rupees each. What is my revenue here? What is my revenue here?
500.
No,
1500.
1500 is my
1500,
revenue.
1500 is my revenue. Mhm.
Yeah, 1500 is revenue. Here revenue inclusive of your, that is nothing but your 500 profit, 1000 rupees cost plus 500 profit. Correct?
Yes.
So this 1500 what we got is a revenue, income or revenue. Same time, due to COVID impact, I have sold because it is necessary to move out my pens or something else. So 10 rupees at 100 pens at 8 rupees each I have sold because of non-movement of goods. So here, what is the total amount I have released? So 800. What is this 800? 800 is also my revenue. But this revenue doesn't include your profit. It is inclusive of 800 cost and 200 loss. Understood? Whenever we talk about revenue or income, so people will be in a different thing. That revenue means it inclusive of our profit. No, it's not. Whatever total amount we receive by selling goods or services, whatever total amount we receive, then that is considered as a revenue or an income. Clear? But that may include sometimes profit, and that may include sometimes loss also in that revenue. Hope you got my point. Yes, no.
Yes, Naveen.
Yeah. So that is, so here nominal account deals in all expenses. Okay, here I'll say all business expenses, losses, incomes, and profits. Right? Now we know that what do you mean by an expense? What do you mean by loss? What do you mean by income? What do you mean by gains? Right? So, okay. So this is about, so means what is and why we are dealing here in the sense, why we need to understand this particular accounting in the sense. So as a consultant, we need to make chart of accounts. There is a concept called account groups. Account groups. Clear? So he will say that paid rent, received commission. These are the transactions. Okay. Received commission. Next one, he said that purchased computer. Right. So we need to make a relevant account groups. See, rent comes under what? See here, how many accounts are there here? How many accounts are including in this particular transaction? How many accounts are included? Paid rent in the sense what we will pay?
Rent to cash.
Rent to cash, right?
Okay.
So here two accounts are there. So rent is one account and cash in another account. So two accounts are there here. So in account group, we are going to map rent comes under which group? Clear? So it comes under, is it an asset? Is it an asset?
Expense.
No.
Expense. So we need to map under a account group called expenses. And what is cash?
It's asset, current asset.
Current asset.
Perfect. You know that it's a current asset. So now we won't ask asset, but again, asset, we have a further classification. So definitely we need to map it as a current asset. Right? For example, sold 1,000 rupees worth goods to Mohan on credit. So how many accounts are there in this?
Personal account and
Personal account
Sales.
and
sales account.
sales, correct? So sales comes under,
Revenue account.
it's a revenue. Revenue comes under nominal account, correct? Income and revenue. So here, what are the accounts involved in this particular transaction? One is sales, that is nothing but revenue, right? Another account is there, Mohan. Mohan comes under what?
Personal account.
Personal account, but still, what he is actually?
Natural person.
I understood. He is a natural person, but he's here. He need to pay us, or do we need to pay him?
You need to pay us.
He need to pay us, right? Someone who need to pay us, then we call them as a debtor in our
Debtor.
accounting concept, correct? Hope you know that. So in SAP, earlier we used to call it as in debtors only, but from ECC 6, EHP 6 onwards, we are no more calling them as an debtors. We are calling it as an trade payables. Sorry, trade receivables.
Receivable.
Trade receivables. Clear? So we don't have a concept called debtor and creditor concept now. We have a concept called, as you know, that accounts payables and accounts receivables. Accounts payables is nothing but a trade payables. Accounts receivable is nothing but a trade receivables. Clear? Mohan will become a debtor to us, trade receivable. So he is nothing but, again, he will become sundry debtor. Sundry debtor need to pay us within a year time. Even though he comes under a personal account, he need to pay us within a 1 year time. As I said that earlier also. In general, any business will have a different payment terms. Either if it is a credit transaction, then they need to pay within 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, 180 days, 240 days. That is a maximum limit. Right? Then what kind of asset is this? Trade receivables are, sorry?
Current asset.
Current asset. Mohan comes under current asset. Why? He is a sundry debtor. So now I understood. I know the meaning of debtor and creditor. Everybody knows, right? Debtor and creditor. The concept.
Yes.
Okay. Apart from the debtor means who need to pay to the business, who are liable to pay to the business, from whom business has to receive. Then that, okay, then they are considered as a debtors. And someone to whom business has to pay, business is liable to pay, then that person is considered as a creditor. But we normally use the term called, sundry debtors. And the term called sundry creditors. Right? Here I know the meaning of debtor, I know the meaning of creditors. What is this sundry?
Which has to be cleared within 1 year of time.
I know, that's what I'm saying. They need to see someone who need to pay us, then we will consider them as in sundry, sorry, debtors. So who need to pay us within a year time, less than a year time. And creditor in the sense, we have taken a credit and we need to repay them within a year time, then they are considered as in creditors. I know these two terms, but I am asking what is sundry debtor? What do you mean by sundry? Did you heard about it, sundry debtors and sundry creditors?
Yes, in
Yeah, heard.
college days. Yeah.
Correct, right? We use real time also. Whatever accounts payable you are using. So here number of vendors you need to pay them. So it will grouped under a term called sundry creditors. I know the meaning of creditors, but what does it mean actually sundry? I can call it as in creditors. I can call them as in debtors. Why I am prefixing the term called sundry? Got my point?
Yeah.
I'll
But we are not remember exact meaning
I'll
of
tell
the.
you. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
See here. So in our day-to-day business, we will sell goods or services. Not are we going to sell only on a credit basis, only to one debtor or number of debtors?
Number of debtors. Yeah.
Number of debtors. And same time, we will purchase goods or services from one creditor or number of creditors.
Number of debtors. Yeah.
Right? So measure again in the real environment, majority transactions, business transactions will take place on a credit basis. Hope you know that.
Right.
Majority transactions, whatever businesses are there who deal with buying and selling of goods and services, those transactions will take place 95% transaction take place on credit basis. Perfect. So on the credit basis, normally we will sell goods to number of debtors and we will purchase from number of creditors. Correct? So whenever I prepare my balance sheet, so I said I need to pay 100 debtors. Sorry, I need to receive from 100 debtors. I need to pay to 500 creditors. So when I prepare my trial balance, so is it possible to show how much amount I need to pay to how much amount I need to receive from each debtor? Is it possible to show the total list in my trial
No.
balance or in balance sheet?
No, we can't.
Because your balance sheet will become bulky if you want to show from whom under current asset. If you press under debtors, if you say you need to receive from AB, C, you need to receive from XYZ, you need to receive from 1, 2, 3, you need to receive from 4, 5, 6, you need to receive from 7, 8, 9, right? If I want to show the 100 debtors in my trial balance or balance sheet, then it will become more bulky of my statement. Correct? Individual ledger accounts, we will prepare each and every ledger. ABC account we will prepare, 1, 2, 3 account we will prepare, DEF account we will prepare, 3, 4, 5, 6 account we will prepare in individual ledger accounts. But when it comes to my trial balance or when it comes to my balance sheet, so what we are going to do, we will club all the debtors. And what we will do, how much total amount we are supposed to receive from total debtors. And same time, there are 500 creditors. So if I individually, I mention in my trial balance or my balance sheet individual creditors, clear? Then my balance sheet, my trial balance looks bulky. So what we will do, individual ledger accounts we will prepare in books of accounts. But whenever we want to show in a statement, what we will do, so we will club all the creditors. How much we need to pay ABC, how much we need to pay some XYZ, right? We will club all together and we will write, okay, 10 lakhs we need to pay and 20 lakhs we need to receive. 10 lakhs we are supposed to pay. 10 lakhs is inclusive of one creditor or all the creditors. Got my point, or you want me to repeat again?
Yes. Got it. I mean,
So if this 10 lakhs is inclusive of only one creditor or all the creditors?
All the creditors.
All the creditors. So 20 lakhs is it? We need to receive from one debtor or all the debtors?
All the debtors.
All the data means this 10 lakh is nothing but we need to receive from group of creditors. We need to pay to group of creditors. And this 20 lakhs belongs to, we need to receive from group of debtors. Right? Sundry indicates group. Whenever it is a sundry, means nothing but group of debtors. It's not one debtor, it's a group of debtors. The term sundry, which is derived from a Latin word. Sundry means in English, it's a group. So sundry creditors, it's nothing but a group of creditors. So you would have seen that also. One, sundry expenses. What do you mean by sundry expenses?
Total expenses.
Group of expenses.
Yeah.
Group of small expenses. You will call it as in sundry expenses, petty expenses. We will maintain, right? Petty cash book. Right? So here, small expenses. Understood? So wherever group is inclusive, so sundry debtor, we will create one group called sundry debtors. Under that, whoever, Mohan is a trade receivable. So we need to select under current asset. There is a subgroup called sundry debtors, and we need to assign this Mohan to this sundry account. So that account group we need to define. When it is possible, when we have a knowledge on these three accounting terminologies. Hope you got my point. Again,
Yes, Naveen.
right? So again, your client will try, because these things will be, your client will have a, because they do every day these activities. So they have a 100% grip on these particular topics. So when we go to client place, these things are not new for them. Okay, SAP is new, but the terminologies are not new for them. So always they'll try to pull our legs in this particular. So always they want to check our knowledge. In SAP environment, they will consider we are the superpowers. We are a Superman or whatever you call. But if we entered something wrong, or we said current, instead of current asset, we made land as an, instead of fixed asset, we said it's a current asset. So whatever SAP 100% knowledge we are having, your client thinks that you don't have any knowledge. And you can't say it's not my day-to-day activity. No, you're not supposed to say that. Because it's your right to create accounting groups as a consultant in the initial implementation. At least basic accounting groups we need to create. So once we say some incorrect terminology we use in some so sundry debtors, that definitely they may ask you, what do you mean by sundry? I know debtor, I know debtors. Then why you are using the term called sundry? You can't say that I have learned from my accounting. So that's the reason I'm using here also. No, what exactly the mean is. And one
Naveen, actually, based on the client requirement, and they give the structure of the
exactly.
estates.
They will give rent and sales. They will give some XYZ, some ABC, but they won't say whether these are, we have purchased from on credit. We have purchased from these many people. We have sold on credit to these many people. They will give you that list, and they will give what are the general expenses and general revenues. They will give the list, and we need to create accounting group. We need to map, right? That with they will give you the cash in hand as this much and cash at bank is this much. They will say that we will have these assets. So cash at bank, these are the two mandatory accounts we need to maintain, right? You are get confused because we don't have an accounting knowledge, and cash is an asset, we know that. But what kind of asset, we don't know that. So we made it as a fixed asset. That's possible, right? Normally, again, I'm telling you, I'm not blaming anyone. Amirpet, a lot of institutes are there. They will create only 4 accounts, 4 accounting groups. One is asset, one is liability, one is expense, one is income. And whatever assets are there, they will explain the people that we need to, if it is an asset, map under asset. If it is a liability, map under a liability. If it is an expense, map under expense. If it is income, map under an income. But they want to say what kind of asset is this? What kind of expense is this? What kind of revenue is this? What kind of liability is this? Because it will take a lot of time. You would have seen it's almost a 3rd session we are taking only for chart of account. and only they will map. This is account group. These are the 4 account group. So they will give that particular, what they will say is, so end user will map according to his requirement. But for end user, SAP is new, right? At least initial nearly 30 to 40 accounts we need to create, we need to map. And after that, once we give the trainings to them, then they will map in their next level. Once it is go to production or live environment, then it will, they will map it according to their requirement. Hope you got my point. Yes or no? Hello.
Yes, Naveen.
Yes, Naveen, that's true. That is
Yes,
true.
ma'am.
So that is the reason we are doing, that's the reason I made it very clear in our first session. We are going to do the financial accounting, and we are going to at least 20% is enough here. Not in depth. 20%, we need to have a complete end-to-end knowledge, that 20%. So like this. Because because again, I'll tell you 2 things here. What I heard from people is, one, SAP stuff, people will say, which is incorrect. Next one, a few people will say that cracking interview is easy, but working real environment is challenge. Once we hit the floor, we can't survive. Majority people says that we can't survive. So the people will say that in Amirpet or wherever you feel, learning SAP is challenging one. Second one, okay, cracking interview, sometimes it may challenge. And same time, after getting a job, when we onboard the job, then we will face the challenges. 3 things people will give a negative feedbacks. Again, I'm insisting you, don't entertain any sort of negative feedbacks. First one, the course is tough. So according to me, even I came from end user, this thing, I came from core Telugu medium from my entire career. Clear? Why I'm saying in the sense, I'm not saying, because according to me, again, I'm telling you, according to me, there is no tough, no easy. No tough, no easy. Why I'm saying something which I know, then I'll feel it as an easy. Something which I don't know, then I'll feel it as a tough. Is it correct or not? You prepared a 10 question and your question paper came with 15 questions. So whatever 10 questions you have already completed, you are perfect in that. So you will answer easily without any hesitation. So for other person, he may not cover that 10 questions. So for him, it's a tough. And for you, it's a easy. Vice versa. So in this particular environment also, if we understood, if we covered in this particular 9 months course, if I am covering end to end, and one more request I said, this is the environment. We don't require a single line program or logic programming knowledge. It's not required here. What is the thing it required here? Only practice, 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 practice. What is the limit of practice? I'm not sure, because person to person, it's a vary. If somebody has done 10 times, they remember everything. Somebody has done 100 times, but still they may not remember 100%. So till you remember everything 100%, till that you practice. Once if you practice everything end to end, once you attend interview, whatever questions they may ask you, you will answer 100%. Again, I'm telling you. And on the floor, when you enter into on the floor, right, you know 100% the subject, because you did a hard work like that, the complete 9 months. And after that, once you hit the floor, 95% you won't face any sort of challenges. 95% you won't face any sort of challenges. Everything will become easy for you. That why people are the other sector people will complete the course within 3 months, 5 months, 6 months. Means what does it mean? Again, I'm telling you, it's an ocean, which is not possible to cover everything in 5 months or 6 months or 8 months. Even I'll say 9 months is also not that sufficient. But still we are trying. That's the reason I said our course may take 1 month here and there itself. Not here, there itself. Clear? So only mantra practice, practice, practice here. And we are going, again, I'm telling you, we are not going to miss a single line. Okay, so people, once we covered everything, once you practiced everything, right? The basics kind of thing, the accounting or SAP basics or whatever it is. See, that is the reason we have started our course. What is S, what is A, what is P? The definition. I'm sorry. I didn't say that SAP is an ERP, but I said, first of all, what is SA, what is S, what is A, what is P? Why it is known as systems, why it is known as applications, why it is known as in products. So we came from this track. So people won't ask you to interview that what is SAP? Ads consulting role at least. But you should have a knowledge. You need to explain your client, because everything, whatever course I have structured, whatever course I have designed, by keeping in mind that if you visit client place, what are the questions you can expect? If you are on the floor, what sort of questions you are going to get? What kind of challenges you are going to face? If you are attending an interview, what sort of questions your interviewer can expect, your interviewer can ask, and what kind of answers he is expecting from you. So those things are covered in this particular course, not question to answer. Okay, is this clear, everyone? So that's the reason we are covering this basic accounting also, which is required. People think that why SAP and why account, because our stream is finance and controlling module. In the same way, we are going to cover, once we start with the controlling module, we will see the basics of cost accounting. That is 20% or 15 to 20%. Management accounting. Same with the roots we are going to see. With the root. So probably in your academics, you would have faced challenges in handling cost and management. Majority people will have challenges with cost. But here, whatever 20%, whatever industry required 20% for SAP environment. So you won't feel that is a challenge. You will handle in fingertips. That I can assure you. Okay, any questions? So here, that is the reason we mention it as a sundry creditor and sundry debtors. Now in SAP environment, we are not calling them as in sundry debtors or sundry creditors. We are calling them as in trade receivables and trade payables. We have a modules, sub-modules in SAP finance sub-module, that is accounts payable is nothing but your trade payables. And we have accounts receivable module. Right? In real time end user environment, we have a different departments. One department is an accounts payable department, and one department is nothing but an accounts receivable department. These two are separate departments. They won't merge together. Clear? Any questions here? Any questions?
No, Naveen. I think we are clear.
Okay. So I'll just quick give a glance. As I said that our accounting cycle, as you said earlier also, journal, what we call ledgers, trial balance, and your statements, nothing but final accounts. This is our accounting cycle. Now, why we are calling it as a journal, I asked, I believe, right? On the on Friday session or Friday session. What do you mean by journal? I asked. Journal is not an English word. Journal is not an English word, which is derived from a French word. It's not required for a consultant, but we need to have a knowledge on this. That's the reason I'm saying. Okay. Journal, the word journal, whatever we are using, it's not an English word. It's a French word. Okay. In French, jour means, a day. In French, jour means what? In English, a day. Means whatever day-to-day transactions take place. So whenever we start, if you take manual accounting or computerized accounting or ERP, right? Whenever a transaction take place, there will be two books will be maintained. Books in the sense, don't go with the manual books. Normally in the here also, we call it as a books only in ERP. So we normally maintain two books. One is to record day-to-day transaction, and one book to maintain individual accounts. individual accounts. So here, whenever a transaction take place, so first where we will record day-to-day transactions in a book called journal. What do you mean by a journal? Journal is nothing but a day recording, or you can call it as a day transaction recordings. So how it will record? According to chronological order. What do you mean by chronological order? Chronological order is nothing but a date wise we will record, right? As per the date, first, second, third, in a serial. We won't record first and after that 31st and after that 5th and after that 10th. No, we record in such a way in a chronological order. That is nothing but sequential date wise we will record. Clear? So all the transactions whenever take place, first it will be recorded in a book called journal. And the process of writing the transaction with the rule of debit and credit, then that is called as an entry. Transaction, entry, transaction, happening of an event, purchase goods for cash, right? And you will record that particular by applying 3 different rules: personal, real, nominal account. You will segregate purchases account debited to cash account, whatever you are framing. So that is considered as a entry. So you are going to enter the transaction in the books of journal. So that's the reason we call it as a journal entry. Means that particular day, this particular transaction is happened. So that this particular journal derived from French word jour, which is nothing but a day. A day-to-day transactions are recorded in one particular book. That particular book is known as a journal. Clear? In a which aspect we will result? In chronological order. So in general, all the transactions will be recorded. All the transactions will be recorded. All will be clubbed in a date wise. But by looking at journal, we can't make out, for example, there is a cash account. It will repeat number of times. So by looking at journal, we can't say how much cash we have received, how much cash we paid, correct? And what is the balance of cash as on today. By looking at journal, we can't make out. Understood what I'm saying? Because all the transactions will be there. Yes, no doubt. We won't miss any transactions in journal. But by looking at journal, we can't make out one individual account status. We won't understand. So to overcome that difficulty, what businesses will do is businesses will open a separate book called ledgers. Ledgers are nothing but preparation of individual accounts, general ledger module, GL. What we will do in GL ledger module, we will prepare each and every individual account, ledger account. So here we will do a cash account separately, purchases account separately, ABC account separately, XYZ account separately, 123 account separately, rent account separately, salaries account separately, commission received account separately, right? Discount received account separately. So whatever accounts are there in journal, each and every account will taken in the ledger separately. So what is the advantage with the ledger? Once we prepare the ledger accounts, if I want to check what is my cash status as on today, what is my cash status? Then by looking at journal, it is not possible to make out. But by looking at ledger, it is possible. So left hand side, we will receipt all cash receipts, and right hand side, we will receipt all cash payments, right? The difference between cash receipts and cash payments will be your cash balance, positive cash balance or a negative cash balance. Understood? Yes or no?
Yes, Naveen.
So
Yes,
in
sir.
day-to-day transaction, probably there are lakhs of ledgers we have created, at least 1,000. According to our business transaction volume, we have total 1,000 of ledgers. But there may be thousands of ledgers, or there may be 1 lakh ledgers or lakhs of ledgers. So each and every account in the ledger, whatever accounts are there in the ledger, either that will come under a group called personal accounts, or that will fall under a real account, or that will fall under a nominal account. Whatever may be the accounts are there in your business, that account, ledger account, will either come under personal accounts, or that will come under a real account, that will come under a nominal account. Understood my point?
Yes, Naveen.
Right? So in this particular ledgers, right? So here, why we are calling it as a trial balance in the sense, so what we will do at the year end in the sense, whatever ledger accounts are there. So what that I said, it will come under either a personal account, real account, and a nominal account, right? So here what we will do, what is our bookkeeping concept says that we follow double entry bookkeeping system. What do you mean by double entry bookkeeping system? It is nothing but every debit will have a corresponding credit. What do you mean by double entry bookkeeping system? Every debit will have a corresponding credit with the equal amount. With the equal amount. Same thing, for every credit, there will be a corresponding debit with the equal amount. Clear? So means one account, if you get it debited, then the credit will have one account or multiple accounts with the equal amounts. That is called bookkeeping. So here, whatever accounts are there in the ledgers, in the end, normally at the end, manual accounting, what they do is they will do ledgers closing. Means, see, my accounting year, if I take accounting year 1st April, and when it's going to be end?
March 31st.
March 31st. So here on 31st March, I have recorded on 31st March, all the journals are completed. But is it manual accounting? Is it possible to, as I said, thousands of ledgers are there. So I need to do, so here ledger thumb rule, again, you need to remember this thumb rule of ledger. I'll tell you again this one. What is the thumb rule of ledger is personal, and real accounts. Real accounts are supposed to be balanced. I'll tell you what exactly is supposed to be balanced in our next sessions when we start our chart of accounts. Balanced. Okay. And next one, nominal accounts. Don't forget this thumb rule. Nominal accounts are supposed to be totaled. Hope you got my point. So as I said, that lakhs of accounts are there, but either they will come under personal real accounts or nominal account. So if comes under personal and real accounts, at the end of the day, we will balance it. Means debit side will be more and credit side will be less, or debit side will be less, credit side will be more. So the difference we will post it, right? And same time, nominal accounts, you know that your expenses, losses, incomes, and profit. Those accounts are not supposed to be balanced. Those accounts are supposed to be totaled. Means what is my salaries? Every month I am paying rent of 10,000. So in my profit and loss account, so am I going to take only 1 month salary, 1 month rent, or total year rent I'll take?
Total year.
Perfect, right? What is your kids' school fees? If I ask, so total fees you will say, but how much you paid, will you say that?
No.
We may pay in installment basis, but still whenever we ask fee, in the sense we will say total amount, right? That is an expense for us, right? So that is the reason nominal accounts are supposed to be totaled, and personal and real accounts are supposed to be balanced. For example, you have sold goods to someone. For example, you have given loan to someone 1 lakh rupees on 1st April. On 1st September, out of 1 lakh, he has returned you 80,000. What is the balance left out? He need to pay you
20,000.
20,000. On 1st April, you have given 1 lakh to him, and he has repaid on 1st September 80,000. So till 31st March, he didn't pay anything. So what is the balance he need to pay you as a debtor?
20,000.
20. So in your balance sheet, in your trial balance, you will show 1,80,000 or 20,000.
20,000.
20,000 only, right? How much we need to receive? That is considered as an our asset, right? So that is the reason that I said that debtor comes under personal account. So personal account and real accounts are supposed to be balanced. For example, you purchased a computer 2 years ago with 70,000 amount. Now it got depreciated with 10,000. 70,000 you purchased, right? 10,000 it got depreciated. So in your asset balance sheet, will you show 70,000 or minus 10,000? So it is 60,000. So will you show it as in 60,000 or 70,000? What is the current value of your asset?
60.
60, right? That is the reason we do personal and real accounts are balanced. Nominal accounts are supposed to be totaled. Hope you got my point. So here, whenever we say ledgers, why we are calling, I'll close it in 2 minutes. Ledgers in the sense, whatever ledgers are there, either all the ledgers will either come under personal, real or nominal account. And real and personal accounts are supposed to be balanced and nominal accounts are supposed to be total. So this is our accounting year, financial year. So normally what they will do is, for example, we will try to close our books of accounts on 1st March. What do you mean by partially close of books? 1st March, right? 30 days time is there. Why? Because after close, what do you mean by closing of books? Nothing but we will do the totals and balances of all the ledgers. Whenever we do the totals and balances of the ledgers of that means on 1st March, which is nothing but partially we are closing our books of account. Partially we are closing books. Whenever we do the totals or balances of ledger accounts, 1,000 ledgers or 1 lakh ledgers. Okay. Why we are closing before 31st? Why we are partially closing in the sense on 31st, we can't do all the activities. We need to close all the 1 lakh books. We need to prepare trial balance. We need to prepare a final accounts. It is not possible. So that is the reason they will close on 1st March, manual accounting, 1st March, which means closing in the sense, partially closing in the sense, nothing but ledgers are closed. Ledgers are closed. And after that, directly after preparation of ledgers, the companies can directly do the final accounts. They can prepare their profit and loss account without trial balance. But why trial balance is needed? It's not mandatory in books of accounts. Again, I'm telling you, trial balance is not mandatory, but business will prepare this particular tool. Why? Because whatever ledger balances we have done, whatever ledger totals we have done, so here we will put in this sheet. Means before preparation of final accounts, we want to check the accuracy of our accounts, prepared ledger accounts, prepared journal entries. If your trial balance debit and credit agrees, means it's equal, then what does it mean? Whatever ledgers are you prepared, whatever journals we prepared, that are not 100%, but 90% it's correct. 90% it's correct. If your trial balance is agreed, right? Then if it is not agreed, then again you need to go back to ledgers. You need to check all the ledgers. You need to go back to journals. You need to check all the journals. So until your trial balance is agreed. So once your trial balance is agreed, then what does it indicate? Your accounts, whatever accounts you prepared, those are perfect. And on the final day, on 31st of March, we want to go with the journals and ledgers. And directly we will take the sheet, that particular trial balance, right? We are checking, it's not original accounting. We are just checking the balances and totals of ledgers. That's the reason we call it as a trial balance. Understood? So from there, we will prepare from whatever things are there in this trial balance. We will prepare our final accounts. That is nothing but your trading account, profit and loss account, and balance sheet. Whatever debit and credits are there, right? According on the base of trial balance list, we will prepare our final accounts. Clear? That is the reason we call it as a trial balance. Trial in the sense, you know, what do you mean by trial? Checking. Before doing something, we will check it. So before preparation of final accounts, it's mandatory. If something directly without trial balance, if you prepare final accounts, if something went wrong in ledgers, then everything, your entire final accounts will go wrong. Your entire final financial statements will go wrong. So that is the reason we will do the trial balance, trial check. Any questions here? Any questions?
No, Naveen.
No, Naveen.
Yeah. Next one, last but not least, you know now why we call it as a trial balance. In final accounts, we will prepare trading, profit and loss, and balance sheet. So people may ask why we call it as a balance sheet. What is that? the balance sheet. Balance sheet will have assets and liabilities, or liabilities and assets. It will be, both will be equal at the end. Correct? I think I asked. Then why we are calling it as a balance sheet? Why can't we call it as a total sheet? We won't do any balance, right? We will do the totals. Why? In the sense, again, I'm going to go back. So as I said that the nominal accounts totals will be transferred to P&L account, trading profit and loss account will be transferred to trading and profit and loss account. All the nominal account items will be shown in trading profit and loss account. But when it comes to personal and real accounts, so as I said that we will balance personal and real accounts, correct? So here, if in personal and real accounts, the balance is exist on the debit side, means debit side balance is there. The balance is exist on debit side, then those balances are considered as assets. You can check it out. Okay, those balances are considered as an assets, and which the balance exists on debit side of personal and real account. If the balance is more, or the balance is there on the debit side of personal and real accounts, they are considered as an assets. Okay, and the balance is exist on credit side. Credit side is more. Credit side of personal and real accounts, then those balances are considered as liabilities. Understood? If personal and real account balance is showing on the debit side, then it is considered as an asset. I'll prove in the next two sessions why it is known as an asset, and why it is, if a credit side is balance is there, then it is considered as an liabilities. So in the balance sheet, the sheet, why we are calling it as a balance sheet? The sheet contains the personal and real account of balances. What is asset? If the debit balance is there, personal and real account, then they are considered as an asset. And if credit balance is there, then that is considered as a liability. So here, whatever assets and liabilities from where you are getting, from your personal and real account balances you are getting. So what does the sheet contains? The balances of personal and real account balances will be there in that particular sheet. So that is the reason we call it as a balance sheet. Why we are calling it as a balance sheet? Because the sheet contains the balances of the debit balances of personal and real accounts, and same time the sheet contains credit balances of personal and real account. So that is the reason we call it as a balance sheet. Understood now? Why we call it as a trial balance? Why we call it as a balance sheet? Any questions? Hello?
No questions. No questions.
Okay. Okay, that's it. It's already too late. Okay, we will close it for today, and tomorrow we'll start up with the SAP chart of accounts, and we will go in depth whenever it's required, same accounting. Okay, whenever it's required, we will continue with the accounting. Parallelly, we will do with our SAP. Fine.
Yeah,
Okay,
Naveen.
Naveen.
Thank you
so
very
much.
much. Thank you.